Okay, so we're going to do a healing in a few minutes.
Yes, we are.
And then we're going to discuss our topic, spirits to avoid, and it'll be interesting to hear how that plays out. It did occur to me earlier, I actually remembered what our topic was going to be. Usually I can't remember until I go to sign in and I have to choose it from the date. I'd like y'all to think about prayer, whether you pray, how often you pray, but more importantly, who are you praying to? Who is the intended recipient of your prayers? So think about that, and when we come back after the healing, I'd like you to post that in the chat bar there, and just to get us started here. Spirits to avoid. I have had some experiences with spirits you really don't want to mess with, and I haven't had any experiences like that in quite some time. But I'm very clear that I had those experiences I'm sure that my guides allowed that or set it up so that I would learn and be aware of what is out there and what to be careful for. Unlike anything else, this is my experience. What if we get into that later or whatever, but the universe is infinite, and there are infinite beings, and everybody's on that spectrum. Remember, everybody's on that spectrum of where they are as far as how close to the light they are. And so there are beings that are a little further down, back in the back row there. And you probably don't want to mess with them, especially something metaphysical that you don't kind of have control yet, because we got baby metaphysical feet because we're stuck at this physical thing. So anyway, okay, we're going to do the healing now. Oh, we should explain it. Why don't you explain it, please?
Okay. So Todd is going to cut off the screen, and there's going to be some silence, and she's going to be channeling from healing energy for all of us. And what we would like for you to do, so you can have the most optimum experience, is to find so you're comfortable and sit down and lay down, close your eyes, and an internal experience. And just allow whatever comes through you, no matter how subtle or strong, this pain, breathe through it, because this is something that needs to move. And let me have the comments afterwards. And I'm trying to think now, oh gosh, it's been a week since I've done this. This is it, Now, we'd love to have your comments. And I think we can just allow whatever's going to be free. And so,
Yeah.
allow.
Yep. You'd think it would be ingrained into our little brains that we could do it in our sleep, but we can't. So, see, we are not professionals. We are doing this out of pure love for y'all, for the universe, for the guides, for everybody. And we just, we're not actors, that's for sure. And we're not professional radio personalities or TV, anything. We're just here for you. So anyway, I'm going to go off screen, like Wendy said, and start the healing, and we'll be back. Okay. We're back.
Hey,
Oh, I heard you futzing with your. I heard you pull a plug or something. I was hoping that when we came back, maybe we would be. Darn it! Darn it! So I do want to share something about this spirits thing. Probably 4 years ago, I don't remember how this woman found me. She was referred by somebody. Oh yeah, she was referred by somebody, a psychologist actually. Um, she had all kinds of paranormal activity in her house, so she wanted me to come and clear it. And there was so much activity. We ended up doing it over 2 or 3 sessions because as we were clearing, more would come. And some of them came because they wanted to meet me, but more my team, you know. So there was just a lot of, it was a complicated, long story, and I'm not even going to remember it all if I tried. But the last time we were there, the time before that we'd been there, and I opened up a portal, and she was supposed to use this, and we were allowing a bunch to go through. It was in some weird like offshoot of the attic room. It was a kind of, you had to go through this bathroom and then through a closet and then through another door, and then there was this like storage area, and the portal was in there. I opened it, and she was using it, and I'd given her instructions on how to close it, but she wanted me to come and close it. So we came back, and I closed it. And we did a couple other things, and so we're downstairs in the living room chatting. It was me and her and another woman that came, who was using the rods to also get information. And with her rods, she got, I think you're supposed to go back up to that room. And I was like, really? I wasn't getting that at all. But I thought, well, I could be tired. I'm not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I mean, really, I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So I'm like, all right. So I go back up there, and I'm standing on the threshold to that wonky room off the closet, off the bathroom. And I'm like, I don't know. Whatever's in there is not good. I can just feel it, And I'm thinking, really? I'm supposed to go in here? All right, I'll trust it. And so as I cross the threshold, from the minute I decided that I'm going in, I'm like, I need to protect myself. So I had a prayer going in my mind this whole time. Before I even stepped across the threshold, I started this prayer in my head, and I just had it running in a loop over and over and over in my head through until I left that room again. So I step in, and I see all these, I guess we would call them demons, bad spirits, whatever you want to call them. And I was like, oh. But I see a being that I am very familiar with. And I'm like, what on earth? What in heaven? Why would you be with these beings? Because I know you to be such a powerfully strong, so solid in the light. Why would you be why would you be anywhere near this group of beings who are clearly not interested in things of the light? And even as that's going through my head, as I'm saying this, I'm like, wait a minute, it's not right. So what they did is they got somebody to impersonate him. And when I first walked in, I saw him, and I was like, but it's not right. It doesn't make any sense. And then I started like, something like the tone, it was just a little bit off. And I'm like, but then I'm like, no, you're not really him. This is a fake. So they sent him away. They're like, oh, you failed. It didn't work. So that he left. But all those other beings were still in there. And again, this prayer is still going through my head. And I'm like, okay, why am I in here? And they're like, we would like you to, and they were very polite. We would like you to open the portal again. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, you can, and they're like, pretty please or whatever. I mean, they were being so polite, and but I'm like, there's no way. I don't want to be responsible for anything that might happen. I'm not doing it. You're going to have to go find somebody else to open a portal for you, because it's not going to be me, and it's not going to be today. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be me. Whatever. And anyway, so I bring that up because a year or two before that, I had a different being, a high being of mine. He had presented himself twice to me in physical form. And one was a flying being, actually both times was a flying being, but the one, and I saw him in my driveway. The other day, I was out in my driveway and I saw a flying being that looked just so similar to him. And I thought, could that be him? But it was just, there was enough subtle difference that I'm like, no, I don't think so. And besides, I know that he only did it those 2 times so that I'd be aware of him. It's very, very difficult to manifest in a physical form like that. So, I wouldn't want him to, because it takes an extreme amount of energy and effort. And I just, So just now thinking about the spirits to avoid, I'm like, oh, I wonder if that one in the driveway the other day was trying to fake me out again. Like pretending to be this other one in the driveway, looked so similar. And then as soon as I made that decision, I'm like, no, I don't think it's him. It was gone. It was just gone. So anyway, so you all can take all of that with a grain of salt. You can toss it out the window. Believe me, not believe me. That's my experience. I have other stories, but that'll suffice for now. So, spirits to avoid. What are our questions? Do we have any questions?
Yeah, well, one of them you kind of started answering is, how do you know that you're in contact with a spiritual body?
Oh, let's go back to my question about who do you pray to. Did anybody... Okay, let's avoid the frog in my throat. Did anybody respond to that question?
No, they didn't.
Oh, come on. All right, who? Huh?
I just say creator.
For you it's creator. Okay. Anybody else? Come on.
No.
Come on. Help me out here.
Sometimes I say Mother, Father, God.
You think Mother, Father, God?
Because I believe that it's not a he or a she.
Okay.
It's the they.
Okay. So I guess what I'm going for is, like, there are multi-layers of angels and beings and masters and all kinds of things. But there's only one creator. You can call it a creative force if that feels better. I'm looking at the phone because that's where you are, but you're over here. But I keep looking over there. There's one creative force, one creator, creative force, however you want to do. So when you say your prayers, you want to make sure that that's who you're intending to. If you don't believe in that, which is why I asked the question, like, who do you believe in, or what do you believe in, and who do you pray to? Because I know there are people on the metaphysical path that don't believe in a creator God kind of per se, like I do and Wendy does, and lots of people do, but lots of people don't, and that's okay. But if you're going to go into anything metaphysical, you always want to start off with a prayer. You always want to start off aligning yourself with source, with spirit, with love. So find something high. If you can't get yourself to believe in a creator, or, and you don't want to, give not false witness, but, you don't want to be like praying to something you don't believe in. I mean, I get it. But if you're going to like pray to Zeus, then, and I'm just, I don't know if anybody prays to Zeus anymore, but, I'm just, you're probably not going as high as you need to go. So even if so maybe you could just set the intention of, I want my prayers to go to the highest being in the light that exists. So that way you're off the hook. You don't have to like know who that is, but you can still align yourself with that. Because if you limit yourself by saying Zeus, and again, it's just an example, if you limit yourself to that, then because we are human and we don't understand what Zeus actually represents. I know it's an archetype, and there are all kinds of ways to interpret that, but it's still something kind of beyond our understanding, and you might be praying to something that isn't quite what you think, or isn't as high as it could be. So always, anytime you're doing anything spiritual, and you don't have to say this like 5-hour prayer, you know, just something, just, align yourself, get in source. So that's always your first defense, your first step in anything. So there's something coming into my mind. I want to see what they have to. I know sometimes the answers come really right in my head, and other times I have to kind of like I don't know why that is. Okay, so I had read several years ago, I don't remember, somewhere that somebody had done a survey, kind of, and again, I read it on the internet, so who knows how true it is, but it made sense, that there have been, what we call UFO abductions or alien abductions or whatever you call it, reported, and people come back and they have evidence. I mean, they have, things in their body, and they have, cuts, and, surgeries happened and stuff. So, it's some things happening. But there are also lots of stories of people that like wake up and there's someone in their room or in their house or wherever they are, and they don't get abducted. So this guy went around and asking all these people, like, what did you do? What were you doing at the time? Because he was trying to figure out what was the difference. Why did somebody show up and abduct this person, and somebody showed up and didn't abduct that person? Like, what was the difference? And what he found was that the ones that didn't get abducted were the ones that started praying.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, so I wanted to ask them what is how valid is that as a concept? Maybe, this guy's research, I don't know how true it is, but as a concept, how valid is that? And they're saying that most like 99.9, a high percentage of beings will not cross that line. They're just not, you start invoking God and they're just not going to cross it. But there are some that will, but it's 1 in 1,000 or something. It's a very small number. So they're saying that they, as guides, or anybody's guides, part of their job is to keep those beings away from you and from affecting you. Sometimes they let them in to, wreak some havoc because maybe there's a lesson you need to learn. But the other thing is, if you call them in, you ask for it, then they kind of, their hands are kind of tied. There's only so much they can do because, you have free will. And if your own free will, you invoke something, then, that was your choice. So, again, being sure to align yourself and setting your intention of calling on high beings, or even, calling on that, and like establishing yourself as like with your guides, like right with you, like, okay, we're doing this together, instead of just I am going to invoke, but my guides and I, that we are together, because then you have that's another layer of protection.
I like that. I'm learning about.
Oh, okay. Are there any other questions?
Well, the question, I just want to know how do you know you're in contact? Like, I mean, you have to actually think of somebody who might not have your experience, and how would they know if they were in contact with a spirit that they should really avoid?
Okay. A lot of it is by the fruits of what they say. Like, if they tell you, you know what, we've talked about this before, I know, but it was under a different topic, but you know, kind of like, but what they tell you to do, like if they're using swear words for one, that's kind of a tip off, you know. If they, you know, seem to have be kind of attached to earthly things, like like I don't know, somebody told me one time that one of their guides or one of their beings that they were talking to told them to, like, you know, cast a spell on somebody, and I'm like, okay, one, why would you want to mess with that kind of dark magic, and two, what kind of, who are you talking to? That is not a being in the light that they're telling you to cast a spell on somebody. I would not talk to that being anymore. You know, I mean, come on. You know, if they're having you do kind of, again, if they're attached to other things, like somebody, I know somebody that, you know, somebody that they're like having them shop, like spending all kinds of money and doing things, and I'm like, you know, is that for your spiritual growth? Is that making you a better person? You know, they seem to be too worried about what you're wearing. You know, that's not that's really not their job to worry about what you're wearing or eating. I mean, you know, it's one thing you're going on like a special date, or you're going to a funeral or something, you know, important that you maybe want to, you know, want to have a little support in what you're wearing. But you know, for the most part, you should be able to figure out what you can wear on your own, you know, or you know, or food. Sometimes, you know, we need help because, you know, we're not well and we're out of balance, and so, you know, we could use some assistance in what we should eat. But for the most part, they should not be telling you, you know, get the Wendy's meal number 5. You know, they should be more like, you know, well, one, they shouldn't be telling me to eat Wendy's, but they should be more concerned about your growth and your health, your well-being. Okay, so kind of remembering that you are having a physical experience. That's what we're doing. We're having this physical, this low vibration, slowed down energy to exist on this planet. But really and truly, you are a spiritual being. You are high vibration, high spinning, and we need to think more in that way. So our people and beings in spirit world, they are not really, they're in vibration, they're in energy, they're in high energy. They're not really concerned with physical stuff. We're a little too attached to this material world. This is a learning. This is an experience. But this isn't real. This isn't really who we are. So anybody that's keeping you attached, you know, it's too focused on earthly stuff. Now, I'm not talking about some being that's telling you to go and, you know, helping you to figure out, go and save the environment, or dolphins, or starving children. What is it? 2,000 children die a day of starvation. I mean, you know, that's something that's helping humanity. That would be different. But if, you know, they're focused on, you know, getting you a better car and, you know, all that, whatever, then you might want to shop around for better guides.
So, you know, you were talking about going in with prayer, but and so I just thought maybe we would want to mention too that your own intention and your own state of being has something to do with who you're going to call in. You know, as in you know, if you're retired, you would have drugs or drinking or what was the other one? So just you're going to have you have the intention that you're going to.
Yeah. I will say, okay, so first of all, yes, drugs, alcohol. Well, alcohol is a drug. I know we don't like to say that alcohol is a drug, but it is. So anything that is mind altering, mood altering, it's you are not then who you think you are. You're kind of messing with your persona, and you're weak. So yes, at those times that's not good. However, when you're tired, sometimes I know many times for me, being tired is a boon. I function better metaphysically when I'm tired. Like the more I'm like tripping over things and, you know, I'm like out of my head because I'm just exhausted. that and like a lot of times, I ever notice, like at Butterfly at the retreats, I'll be like, I can't even, like, I couldn't chew bubble gum if you gave me some. But I know, then I'm like, oh, we're in for something, because the more I'm weird, I'm like, oh boy, this, because I'm not in my body real well. So I know that tired and all that is a hindrance, but definitely anything that's messing with your mind. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to ask, I have one more question written down, and then I'll read the next one, but I think ties into kind of what we've been talking about. Is there a time you are more likely to be a quote-unquote target?
A time in my own personal, in anybody's personal life, when you're depressed, when you are, again, under the influence of anything, and the veil is thinnest, like 3 o'clock in the morning. So if it's the thinnest for everybody, for all beings. So that's another good reason. You know how they say nothing good happens after midnight? So that's another good reason to go to bed, to avoid that. I know a lot of people, especially when they first are starting off on this metaphysical world path and engaging with beings, a lot of times they will get woken up a lot at 3 a.m. I wouldn't let that go on very long. It's not healthy for you, and you need to develop. It's a tool, like, to get you started, but optimally you can communicate with that. You don't have to be like waiting for 3 a.m. to talk to somebody. Okay, you should be able to, get yourself there. I mean, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes an ongoing thing. That doesn't mean you can't ever at 3 o'clock in the morning make a request, but optimally don't. It's a crutch. Don't rely on that.
All right, well, with that, I have had a real interest in parasites, and I feel like if they don't, then it tends to do that. I have been trying to rid myself of that, but I have been become like a thankful. I need advice.
You know what? I really didn't hear you. It sounded like you were reading? Oh, here. I have had a real issue with parasites. That's the one. Touch them. I haven't. Okay. I think this person is somebody that I work with one-on-one with, or have worked with. I'm not 100% sure, because there are lots of names that are similar. If that's the case, okay, hold on. So I'm getting. To some degree, yes, but thank you for bringing it up, because that's another thing, that, and I guess I never really thought about that before. But parasites. So you're asking, Wendy, you asked about when are we vulnerable and stuff. That's another case, when you have, when you're sick, and when you have parasites, because those are alien bodies in your body, so they're easy to infiltrate. And okay, so but getting back, so that's in general, and then in particular to this person. Yes, but you're getting stronger, so hang in there. They're putting up a shield for you. It's not. It was minimal. It was minimally invasive. What's the word? There wasn't as much getting in, perhaps, as you thought. But being aware of it, that was good. Good catch. But again, it'll come out. It'll come out. Don't worry. Okay, next.
I had a yucky yellow spider with red eyes bothering me last week.
I had a red what? Is this again? Is this one? Is this on
Yeah.
here? Okay. Darn it. See, I don't see it the way you do, and I don't understand why that is, but oh wait, maybe it's over here. Here. I had a yucky yellow spider with red eyes bothering me last week. I researched enemies of spiders and came up with one that I could use to keep my spider at bay. It shrank and disappeared. Okay. Awesome. She should share what that was, what research she found. Okay, so I'd like to know more about how to proactively protect myself. Okay, that was, see, now I see where to see the texts, but then I don't get to see you, so I don't know. Okay. First thing they're saying is straight spine. Straight spine. And and I say that all the time. I mean, we're always like, I'm always like, yeah, straight spine. But my understanding was, well, okay, is because it's more conducive to flow, but it's also more conducive to you being, well, that makes sense. Then, so if you've got better flow, that means you're more in the flow, you're more in the light, you're more healthy, you're more vibrant. And so the more vibrant and healthy and the better you're flowing, then the more solid you are, the more protected you are. Oh, how cool is that? Such a simple thing, Okay. Being hydrated. Oh, see, these are like simple common sense things. I mean, about our health. Straight, hydrated, prayer, breath, using the breath. Filling up the lungs completely. Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Okay. Walking tall, straight, deep breaths, strong, with your beings, with God, with Source, however you want to. Actually, it's a multi-layered things because you do have your own guides. And of course, God envelops everything. So the more that you are aligned with your own higher self and your inner God and your spirits, your guides. I mean, I'm confusing that. I'm using the terms interchangeably, and I'd like to not. Your guides are the ones specifically assigned with you, and they're good. Those, of course, you want to talk to. We're talking about spirits to avoid. A spirit to avoid would not be one of your guides. That would be bad. Unless you're like some really, anyway. No, even then it's not. I mean, even if you are really, you still have a guide that is trying to help you in a good way. Okay. So all of those things build up the muscle, your own muscle of spiritual strength, of spiritual engagement. The more you say prayers, the more you walk and talk and breathe of Source, the more you enmesh yourself in that matrix. I mean, you can't untangle yourself from it, but you can kind of like shut down your little corner, where you are and kind of make that darker than everything else. So, but the more you engage and keep the lights on, so everything all enmeshed, so all the vibrations going out are light, the more that you are then receiving light coming back, because again, everything's connected. You send out light, light comes back. The more light you send, the more you receive. So that you're strengthening your corner of the matrix. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay. So that's your first and foremost. Yes, you can do rituals and incantations and ceremonies and all that good stuff. Knock your socks off. But you got to walk the walk. You got to walk the walk, talk the talk. And, which, I don't know about you, but I can't do it 24/7, but I try. But I do notice that the more over time, I mean, it gets easier and easier to be in love, to be walking in love, and for things not to bother me, and to just be okay. Doesn't mean I still don't have bad days or bad moments or whatever, but it gets easier over time. But you got to keep at it. So keep aligning yourself. Again, it would be wonderful if you could just do some incantation and poof, everything's perfect. But you got to do the work. I know everybody always gets mad at me. I always say, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. But that's just the way it is. You got to build the muscle. Nobody can build the muscle for you. People can help you, can hand you the weight, can encourage you, can go to the gym with you, but you're the one that has to you have to do it. I can spot you, I can push you, but you got to do it. Huh?
Yes, read your comments.
I'm not hearing you. Oh, read the comments. Good idea. Okay. Just Chase, I just want to pray. Okay. And a terrifying story was falling and clutching me from below. Then I prayed. Okay, how beautiful was that? I once was dreaming and had a terrifying experience in which I was falling and something clutched at me from below. Then I prayed and felt I should let go and fall. I did, and all was okay. What was that? That was trust and belief and understanding. It was your team, which includes you, creating the situation in which you would have that experience, so that you remember that you do trust, remember that you do know. So it felt very real for you. I mean, from my viewpoint, I think, I don't know if it did for you at the time, but it was a reminder, like, hey, you are held, you are protected, you are safe. And then, of course, there's a whole dream psychology. You could add that layer to it as well. Your psyche be involved. But I think when we say our psyche, a lot of times we need to remember that also includes our guides. They're very much involved in all of that. It's not just me and my little head. I got other little heads, involved. So we all have others. So, okay. Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I don't see it. The
Can you understand now?
The what?
Can you understand now?
One more time?
It's all about the spiders and the birds. I'm happy about her.
Okay. Okay, spiders are birds of prey, other spiders, damselflies, wasps, shrews, grasshopper, mice. I also have my elementals, fairies, surround the spider and guard it until I could ask for a spider hunter to appear. But so there's no, but there aren't any questions. I'm not missing a question, right? Okay. 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 Well, we're at 8:52. I hope this helped you some. I know it wasn't very dramatic and exciting. We didn't talk to any evil spirits or anything, and that wasn't our intent to. So yeah, we didn't give you some fancy recipe to some spell and some stones. I mean, obviously there are stones and oils and all those things that can help with that. But ultimately it comes down to you and placing yourself in a vibration in which you are higher. The higher your vibration, the more protected you are. The lower your vibration, the more vulnerable you are. Okay, that's the bottom line. So yes, and sometimes you're having a rough go and you just need all the oils and stones and everything that you can get your hands on, and that's okay. That's fine. Use them. Nobody's saying don't use them, but ultimately you got to raise your vibration. You gotta figure out how to get yourself out of the pit of darkness that you fell into, and you only fell into it for a lesson. we don't like that either, but that's why, and sometimes we fall in abruptly, sometimes we like push ourselves little by little, and we just go, and then we just go over the edge. Well, you could have stopped anywhere along the way, but sometimes, we just keep going, and then we're like, oh, I fell. Oh, what am I going to do now? Well, you had opportunities, and it's all, and I know most of us are like, well, all these things are out of my control. Yes, a lot of times things feel like they're out of our control, but the way that we respond to them, the way that we engage with them, the way we live with them, how we go forward, that is in our control. And so the higher vibration you can be at to move with it and through it, the better you're going to be, the stronger you're going to be, the easier it is going to be to come through it, and the quicker it's going to happen, and the less vulnerable you are. And if you think you can't do it, believe me, you can. God never gives you anything that you can't handle. And the world is full of stories of people, humans that have experienced horrible, horrible, horrible things. And you meet them, and they're full of joy, and they're loving, beautiful people, or you can see them on the internet, or you read a book by them, or whatever. So you know that you can get through horrible things, and come out strong, and come out a loving person. So anything that's bothering you, find a way. Reach out. Reach out to us. Reach out to There's so many places you can get help. But again, you've got to, it comes down to you and raising your vibration. Okay? With that, I raised my vibration yesterday. Look what I made. Isn't it cute? Isn't it? I'm like, I had no idea, but there was all these different workshops, and I'm like, oh, I want to check that out. And I never made a basket before. And it was so, there was a bunch of us women in there doing it, and we were all just so like in such a meditative state, and we we're just like in the groove of making this thing, and chatting as women do, and supporting each other. It was just such a powerful experience just to make a little basket. So having said that, community is a huge way of raising vibration. And sometimes you have to have community. You can have community with a large group of people. Sometimes it might just be your sister, or your friends, or your neighbors. Sometimes it's just your freaking cat. But if you got to have community with somebody, So, okay, that's it for tonight. We'll do marriage on Wednesday, since we didn't do that last week. And then next Sunday is Have We Always Existed? That's the one that we missed. Oh no, that's the one that I changed because we had those guest speakers. So, and then I don't have the rest of August planned out yet. So I got to get to that. I can't believe it is August. How did it get to be August?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. All right. Yeah. Did you start back at work already? Tomorrow? Oh. It went so fast. Okay. Huh? Cool. Okay, good night, everybody. We love you. See you Wednesday or Sunday or whenever, or on the internet or on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else you are. In our dreams, someplace. Good night.
Good night.